Welcome to another live episode of Halftime Adjustments. Your host, Eddie Arnell, my man G Witt, Mr. J. Lou. What's going on, fellas?
Tighten up, baby.
Tighten up, baby.
Tighten up, fellas, man. Week 16. Another one in the books for the two-tone blue. Coming in this week. Competitive tank mode, as we like to say on the show. Seahawks coming in still playing for a lot of things, man. Then you also have the return of Ryan Tannehill, which was going to be interesting to see how that would work out. A lot of backups playing, guys. Not a whole bunch has changed. We did see them almost win another game. That's they're 0-7 in one-score games this year.
Yep.
And so that just goes to show you this team is not that far away, but there still need to be a major overhaul. But anyway. Seahawks 20, Titans 17, guys. Titans fall to 5-10 on the season. J. Luke, as you see at the bottom of the screen, man, what's the positives we could take from the game today? I know there's got to be a few things that we can glean on for next year.
Yeah, so one of my positives is somebody who was a positive for me last week, and that'd be Chig. I think we all have to agree over the last 6 to 8 weeks. Not only has 6 weeks, 8's probably been a little generous, but the last 6 weeks at least, Chig has been consistent with catching the ball and catching the ball in traffic. Has really not had any of the drops. I'll be honest, his run blocking seems to have improved a little bit as well. So you hope that you can build on that. Not as great of a second season as he would have liked, but if you can build on that on top of if you can get Wiley healthy. I think you got some dynamic tight ends looking forward to the future. So I think that's one thing. I'll say the second thing, too, same guy that came out of Chig's draft class would be Burks. The last 2 weeks, Burks has been running wide open, and I guess the quarterbacks are doing two things. They're allergic to throwing the ball to Burks when he's open, and they continue to throw him hospital balls to get him knocked out by DBs. So glad to see, for those that wonder what he has around his neck, that's a new technology that helps with the blood flow to the brain for concussions.
Right.
He had did some research on to where, and you notice Derrick Henry had it on after his a couple of weeks ago. So good to see him doing that where he could try to stay healthy because he's got the talent. I think the talent's there for him. So I believe that's good. And then thirdly, you never want to say this as a fan, but, if the Titans lose one of their next 2 games, they'll have the most losses since G. Witt likes to bring up the Wiz era. So they already clinched losing back-to-back seasons of 10 games. I think the other positive comes out of that is currently at the moment as it stands, you are picking 5th in the draft, which that high up for what you need to improve on with your offensive line gives you an opportunity to maybe get a blue chipper that you can plug right in. And let's just be honest, this team is some blue chippers away. I think G. Witt has said it best that we play with a lot of practice squad and backups. We need to start getting some starters in here. So that'd be a few of my positive takeaways from that.
Yeah, and I'll turn it over to you, G. Witt. I was concerned about Burks today because he took a shot one time and hit his head on the turf. And sitting over there, man, shout out to J. Lou, man, for the tickets today because I sat in his crowd and they were hyped up. But yeah, we was talking about, we were hoping he was going to be able to get up and not have any issues with that shot he took. But G. Witt, man, what's some positives you can take away from the game today?
Well, I would say this. One positive was that the fact that the resurgence of the running game today, the King looked very aggressive today, ran the ball well, and so did Tyjae Spears. I thought both of them ran the ball well. That's one thing. The second thing is, in spite of having a lot of who are they on the defensive side of the ball, overall, I thought they played pretty good. Yeah, they had their hiccups and everything and started getting some penalties. But overall, I thought they played pretty good considering that Seattle can be an explosive offense. They held them to 20 points and really didn't give up anything until the end of the game. So that's another positive. And the other positive, I'm going to say this is basically, I'm going to have to take back what I was saying earlier in the season. Tannehill is not a backup quarterback. So, the only positive I can take from that is the fact that we know Rand is going to have to scour the league, try to find a good backup quarterback for Will Levis for next year.
Yeah, and so great points by both you guys. I'm gonna pitch mine out there. So I like to see Landry. Landry's rounded back in the form, man. You saw him today. Another good pass rush. Yeah, so it probably was, man. He's actually still playing ball at 32 years of age. He's at 11 and a half sacks now.
Yeah.
And then Arden Key starting to pitch in as well on the defensive front. I do like the run defense today as well. I thought they played pretty solid on the run. Really limited, Kenneth Walker III in the run game, which he's a good running back.
Yeah.
And like G. Witt said, they got an explosive offense and they can put some points up. And so you just remember they just beat Philadelphia the other night. And so for them to come in here and we able to stay in the game the way we did, kudos to those guys. And then I would also say that, again, the special teams proves to be a key card going down the stretch. I don't know if it's getting rid of Jay Lou's boy, Craig Ackerman, but for some reason they playing their best ball of the year right now. And then one other thing, and I don't know, it's kind of a positive and it's kind of a negative, and I was texting y'all back and forth in the game. Where was the zone run game this year? You see what happened today? They started running the zone scheme today, and the King looked like we used to see. Yeah, and he came close to breaking a few of them. And for 19 carries, 88 yards, had a great game. We should have had a few more carries, and to prove his worth today, man. But come on in and get your questions and comments in. Appreciate y'all for joining the show. It's kind of look at this offensive side of the ball, guys, as far as yardage goes, and then we can break down some other little things. 6 of 12 on third down. That's not bad for the Titans. 50%. That's better than what they average, right? 287 yards total offense. And to your point, G. Witt, 273 for Seattle. And so you see how close this game was and how they could have easily won this game by a few more plays they could have made. 125 yards passing and 162 yards rushing. But G. Witt, man, talk to me what you saw in this offense today. Anything worth making note of?
Besides what I've said already.
Like it. Yeah, right.
I would say this. One thing we did notice, and you saw receivers getting open really quite a bit, but the unfortunate side of it was that Tannehill was late with a lot of his throws. There were a lot of throws he made where if he throws the ball out earlier and on time or throws the receiver open, then he doesn't. Then he makes completions instead of getting the ball knocked away or overthrowing everybody. So that was one thing. The run game was what really surprised me, in all honesty. You saw the King hitting the hole, running aggressive. Tyjae Spears always hits the hole aggressive, but you saw him making some really good runs. I thought for a while it allowed Tim Kelly to get into a good rhythm calling the offense. I will say the one thing that bugged me more than anything else was in the second half. With the difference in the way they called the offense in the first half and in the second half. I thought, in the first half he ran the ball out of a lot of 3 wide and having people outside, and then all of a sudden for some reason in the second half they we got to go back and we compact it all in, and I'm like, you got one receiver out and you got your worst really worst running route running tight ends in the game. So
one was a lineman.
I thought that was just, I didn't understand why they were doing that. But other than that, though, really, in all honesty, like I said before, Tannehill has showed today the reason why they went with Levis after he got hurt, and you see the fact that the last drive showed it better than anything. As a veteran, and I don't know how many years Tannehill's played, 14, 16 years or whatever the case may be, you in that 2-minute offense with no timeouts, the one thing you can't do is take a sack.
Took 3
and
of them.
He took 3 of them. And that's the thing that really just you just got to shake your head in, because I'm like, dude, you can't take a sack and you taking sacks.
Right.
Exactly. Like I said, he took that last one. I'm like, okay, that's the game over. You can't even get back up to the line of scrimmage. So it's all over then. Even Vrabel knew that. He just threw his headset away and just walked on the field. But that was disappointing. But overall,
I was impressed with the run blocking. I was surprised with the run blocking, in all honesty. But and I was pleased with the way the players run. And really, the pass blocking wasn't that bad. I thought Tannehill had time to throw the ball. It was just like he get locked in on the receiver and wouldn't look anywhere else.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was laughing. He was shell shocked, man. J. Lou called it all the time, man. He was hearing ghost pressure when there wasn't any ghost pressure, and Deion says he needs to go ahead and retire, man. I mean, he's done to me. He's at least done here in
Yeah.
Tennessee. But go ahead, J. Lou.
Yeah, no, I think today showed why you got Levis in there and even Malik, because Tannehill was late on every throw I seen just about. And again, that's why I call him hospital ball. He literally, I didn't know how many wide receivers he was trying to put on IR between Burks and Chris Moore.
And Chris Moore,
and even Chig, he was leaving them out to dry. But I agree with G-Wit. I thought you saw the King might know the writings on the wall. So I thought he went out there and put on a performance that we're used to seeing, even with Spears. I think the second half, G-Wit, they flipped the play card over to the competitive tank side and started calling it, because you're right. We were out of 3 wide and everything the first half running. And the thing that continues to boggle me and that this offense has got to fix, man, is I'd be curious to go back and see how many games we've went into halftime with the lead this year and then come out and just lay an egg. And that's in essence what they're doing, because again, the defense, typically you give up 20 points in the NFL, you should win more of those games than not. And
260 some yards total offense.
Yes. So I mean, it's the offensive line. I'm be honest, I don't even know if we got maybe 9 linemen on the team, however many you got. Only one should be under contract at this point next year.
Peter.
And that's Peter. And for people talking about Peter right now, because he's got bull rust a little bit the last couple games, he's a rookie. I think Ramon Foster did a great job outlining him this week on their show, their local show here, because he was talking about how he compared to some of the all-pro guards that you see, and he's right in line, if not above them, with his rookie year. 2, he's overcompensating because you're playing with Aaron Brewer as your center, who is getting his man pushed back into you. So Peter, to me, should be the only offensive lineman under contract. The rest of them, you just got to prove it. And again, we knew this going in. I'm not going to say that phrase again, because G-Wit has already got on me and Ed for saying it couldn't get worse. And dang it, they've already said they had most sacks this year, which surprisingly, they're not even the worst. They haven't even given up the most sacks. I think they're like 29th out of 32, something crazy like that. But they have given up the most sacks this year. We lead the league in false starts. I just don't understand.
Kanye was mentioning that.
Yes, how you have so many false starts. It's borderline ridiculous. But again, the play calling, it is what it is when you start getting conservative in the middle of the field. And that last drive, the shell shock Tannehill really came out. I'll be honest. I think the first hit he took from Wagner or whoever it was, I think he might have been semi-concussed. And was just confused.
I thought he was hurt one time. He got up. Yeah,
he took one right under the chin. But yeah, I mean, the offense, it's what we've seen all year. You had some positive, some bright spots, like I said earlier. Good to see Chig get the ball. Good to see Burks getting involved. And I'll say this: I don't want to see Burks on another jet sweep the rest of the year. They're not beneficial. Like, they're not beneficial at all.
They can't hold their blocks.
Yeah, so scrap that out of the playbook. But yeah, I would have loved to see a little bit more zone, as you saw the first half, a little bit more pitches. But overall, I mean, this offense, we can count on one thing: this offense to consistently have penalties and shoot themselves in the foot and score 17 or less points.
The amount of false starts, man, it's just this uncanny for a football team to have so many false starts. I mean, every game. It's not just a few games. It's every game. And it's always in a critical moment when they got ahead of the sticks, and then it puts them behind the sticks, and then they get a sack. And it's always. But yeah, so what was eye-opening to me for the offense today, guys, was how night and day it is with Will Levis and Tannehill. I mean, I mean, it's not even close to what we saw the last 7-8 weeks with him behind quarterback in the pocket. There's no, and so Seattle knew there wasn't going to be no deep shots today. I mean, I don't know how many
None.
times I saw Burks running.
Wide open.
It was wide open.
So, now, granted, sometimes. Go ahead.
I was going to say even one time when Tannehill took a sack, Colton Dowell was running down the sideline wide open, and I'm like, just throw the ball to him, man. Even if you don't catch it, just throw it out there.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know, and sometimes, of course, a couple times he didn't have the time, but other times, man, it's like he got locked into one guy and he didn't see nobody else.
Yep,
that's it.
And I mean, yeah, and it's just amazing to me, man, the night and day difference at the quarterback position. And yeah, Ricky, I got you, man. Offense. So yeah, but I agree with you, J. Lou. Second half, you start bringing in the extra lineman, the jumbo package, and you every time you run the ball. Now you did throw play action, but you got one of your worst receiving tight ends in the game, and Radar, and then you got an offensive lineman, and then you either got Chris Moore, or you got D-Hop out there, and they're gonna double team D-Hop.
Yep.
And so yeah, it just, to me, like we've been saying on here, nobody likes to hear they just played well enough to stay in the game. Because they could have won the game. Just like they could have won all these other one-score games. I thought they could have won today for sure, man. But 287 yards of total offense, man, for the Titans today. Tannehill was 18 of 26, 152. Derrick Henry 19 carries for 88 yards. And Chig led the receivers with 6 for 63.
Before you move on,
go ahead.
My bad. Before you move on to defense, I will point out one other thing I noticed on offense that ticked me off about Timothy Kelly even more today. How many times did y'all see play action on first down today when I've been screaming that when Will
don't go there.
Man,
don't go there. Don't go there.
It was ridiculous.
How often have we been saying that all season?
Yes.
All season long. And so I don't know if it's the confidence now, like Tim Kelly didn't have, and Tannehill, like he ain't gonna throw it anyway. So
he's late with the throw, regardless. I mean, but you can run play action with Will Levis and get the ball out a lot quicker. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
I mean, last week was the proof in the pudding. I mean, you're going against Houston and you run the ball straight ahead every play instead of running play action.
Right. Yeah, D, I don't know, man. We've been talking about Tannehill locking in on one guy for the past 3 years on this show. So, for sure. But defensively, J. Luke, talk to me, man. My boy Danico still balling. I think they need to sign him back.
Yeah.
We got Harold coming in. But go ahead, man. Talk to me what you saw today on the defense.
I kind of, saw what G. Witt mentioned earlier for who's bunch that's out there. I thought they looked decent. You got Otis Reese, who he is another. He plays so undisciplined. I just like seeing it.
He need to learn how to tackle. He need to be on a tackling dummy this week.
He's got to learn how to tackle, but man, his speed was something different to see.
It was
at the linebacker position. So I think as we talk about looking forward to next year, you got 2 more games where he's got no choice but to play because you have no other linebackers. So continue to try to develop him. That front four, man, it's I'm like you. I laid out, and I text chat this week, I laid out the contract for Danico. It's very doable, and I think that they might try to run it back one more time with the 4, because you got to think we're seeing Harold. Everybody was giving him heck at the beginning of the year. He said he was healthy. That's what any player is supposed to say. I'm ready to play. But you've seen him finally rounding the form, as you would point out. I think 5 sacks in the last since the middle of November to the end of November. Danico is the best pass rusher on the team, and then you're starting to see Arden Key get a little bit more comfortable as well. So I think between the 3 of them, 29 sacks somewhere in there. And again, you bring Big Jeff back with that. I think you go for that 4 again. But again, DBs, man, it's for those who were calling for my guy to be gone in what's my corner?
Avery.
Hamstring game. No, my hamstring.
Fulton.
There's no way that you think that Avery's better than Fulton. I'm going to give our DB coach a pass because look at what he's working with in like easily. And so as I just said on the offensive side that only we need to keep Peter. Roger is the only cornerback that needs to be under contract. And
I would keep SMB though too. I would keep him.
I would keep him for cheap. I would give you that. Because you need a veteran presence. But I would be looking to replace as well because you saw him down today. And the one thing I will say I'm glad about, they at least allowed Roger McQuarrie, even with him being arguably your number one corner today, they allowed him to still play in a slot, which best suits him. Instead of him being on the outside. So I'll give them that. But other than that, man, this defense, I've been screaming for them to change coordinators. I'll be honest. You ran cover 0 today when you have no corners, but when you had your starting corners the beginning of the year, you're afraid to run cover 0. You ran cover 0 when nobody can guard that Megatron out there they call DK Metcalf, but you won't run it no any other time. So literally, I almost text y'all that doing it when he ran it 3 times. Fire him on the spot for running it today when you won't do it no other time. So
and I was telling G Witt, I was like, man, this is crazy. Number one, you got Trey Everett out there on DK Metcalf, man-to-man coverage, with no help,
1-on-1.
That's got to be the worst I've seen as far as the scheme goes. But go ahead, G Witt, talk about the defense, man.
Well, in all honesty, J. Lou hit on all the points. I would, like I said, for defense, for basically, let's just call it what it is, a no-name defense, because you had players out there I did not know who they were or where they came from. But overall, I didn't think they did that bad. Yeah, I thought Shane Bowen should just get fired for having Avery out there without any over-the-top help. It just didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, the man can't cover. He can't, and you put him on that one play against a tight end. You had him in press coverage, and he just got beat up on that play, and couldn't even turn to make a play. I will say, like you said, I think I will say this. I think Arden Key is definitely benefiting from the fact that Harold Landry is playing lights out right now. Like I said, Arden Key's problem is he just doesn't play the run very well. But
correct,
Harold Landry shows that he's back to playing the run very stellar. And I was impressed with that. I thought Al-Shaair, he did okay, but I thought he also got caught up in the wash quite a few times and missed some tackles. I'm trying to think of who else stood out to me. I can't really complain about the safeties. I thought they did okay. Before I forget. We said this last year in the preseason. No one should wear number 33. No one should wear number 33 because he did exactly what number 33 does. Tried to tackle DK Metcalf with his head down, got leaped over. He's on a highlight film from now to doomsday.
Yep.
And he's gonna have to live with that film, that film coverage from now on. You don't wear number 33 on this team. You just don't. Even though when they did the little in game games and everything and talking about he has the most interceptions or whatever the case may be, I'm like, you don't wear number 33 on this team. And he played like that.
So shout out, man, to G Witt. His boy was at the game today, man. It was a special guest in fourth quarter, man. Shout out.
And
to
you saw his
boy.
influence.
His boy Michael Griffin was at the game today, man. I know he teared up. I wish I was up there with him. I know he was excited to see.
No, actually, I had walked out. I had to go use the restroom. I walked out, and so I didn't get to hear it.
Quaye says, do we think that was PI on Avery against DK? Now, I will say this. I didn't see him grab his wrist, but he did grab it. From what I saw, I couldn't tell it. Because they showed the replay, I couldn't tell still, but then so it was. He grabbed him. He grabbed his arm.
He grabbed, well, not only grabbed his arm, he held him. In the route. He held him in the route. 2 hands. Because he knew he was beat. So he just held him. So I'm like, okay. That was a touchdown all the way. He was beat.
Dion says he wants to see Caleb Murphy. Caleb Murphy played a little bit today. He got in a few snaps.
He did.
Don't think it was a lot to glean on, but for today. But yeah,
I think he was more special teams too.
Yeah, more special teams. The guy, man. Dion also said game was scripted, Operation Tank on the cool. Second half, man, we called it. We said, "Oops."
Second half,
it's time to turn back on the script for the tank.
That's called a competitive tank.
It's sad, man.
If you can't see it, then man, it's you mad because it's obvious.
I will tell you this though. I will say the difference. What the Chargers did was tanking and losing the locker room. How you see the Titans coming out and playing, unless something changes, that's why Vrabel will be back next year, because he still has this team playing hard. I mean, we're not getting 63 put up on us, and they're right there in the game. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You 0-7 in 1-score games this season. Yeah. I mean, think about that. That's 12 wins.
If you don't even take the whole season, if you take the last 3 weeks, you're right at 8-7. Right at the end of it. So
you're in the mix.
You're in the mix.
But you know,
the offensive line. Go ahead.
Yeah, but no, I was just gonna say, you can tell the competitive tank, because I mean, you're playing lights out in the first half, in all honesty. I mean, even with a bum offense, you're playing lights out, especially on defense. And all of a sudden in the second half, you change you get more loose with your defensive play call, and you get more conservative with your offensive play call.
Mm-hmm.
It's the craziest thing. But I would say this: I think the one thing why you see the team, like we said, a competitive tank and having these 1-score game, a lot of it has to do with your leadership in the locker room.
Yeah,
I would say, definitely with players like Big Jeff and the King, they're not just going to let you sit there and just tank and not put forth any effort.
Mm-mm.
They're just not going to let you do it. And that really, you hear that all the time. Players make your locker room.
Yeah,
it's not the coaches. Players make the locker room. So Big Jeff is in there, and he's not going to let them take a day off or anything like that. And I think what we saw today was the King was like, we're going to play this game regardless. Yeah. I'm playing. So and I think you just saw that from everybody else. I just think the play calling stunk.
Yeah. Will says, where's Kearis Jackson? He's back working at Walmart. So, Will, Kearis is like Jamarco Jones last year. Got hurt early in the season and then just disappeared off the map. They hadn't even said it. He's not even on IR. So we don't know the status of Kearis. I wish somebody would let us know. Anybody out there in the room, man, watching the show, let us know, man, if you know any updates on Kearis Johnson. But I was gonna say, with this, think about that, man. Those games with this offensive line and what you got on defense, which is pretty much your practice squad in the secondary.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
This is like your preseason defense. Your
preseason
defense in the secondary is pretty much what you got right now.
Mm-hmm.
With all the injuries and things that have occurred in the last few weeks. And so, again, it's the locker room, it's the culture, like you said, G. Witt. And although we still need to get some better coordinators to coordinate both sides of the ball. 3 sacks for the defense today. I was looking at Tannehill. But those penalties, man, 10 penalties for 97 yards, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, man.
2 for 4 in the red zone on the defense side of the ball for Seattle. And so, and then, of course, the Titans just about dominated the time possession with 33 minutes. Yeah, so man, it's just it's a weird game today. Did you guys? Let me ask you this: do you all know what happened to Duncan while he got pulled for Dillard? I was concerned about
his wrist. So on
wrist.
TV, copy said it was a wrist injury.
Okay, because I was like, why is Dillard in the game? Yeah, and he gets a false start on his second play.
Duncan could have. They said Duncan could have gone back in, but they held him out. So
okay.
Yeah, so,
Deion said he's not mad for tanking, man. We got to clean up the roster mess that J-Rob left us. I agree with you, man. I mean, it took some of us on here a little bit to accept it.
Oh, yeah, it took me all season. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not one. I said it when you were saying it. I'm not for a competitive tank. But, after a while, you got to say it is what it is.
Yeah.
You just accept it.
Because it's a hot mess, man. It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. And the only way you're going to get out of it is – go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. As I pointed out earlier in the week for the fans that's listening, this is the first time in Titans history. So think about not Oilers, but Titan history that they're going into an offseason being at the top of free agency money in the league. Like you've got to – and your hope is, which again, that's what all teams are doing, hoping they hit on the right person. You're hoping you have a GM – that can hit and not foolishly spend the money. And I'll be honest, seeing his first draft that he did short term, I mean, he came in, they hired him, in February? The draft's in April. So he really only had, 60 days per se to get involved in the draft and speed it up. And now you've had scouts out all year long. You
Mhm.
had what you want to do all year long and the type of players you want to look for. I'm satisfied with his first draft that we see. I mean, I think, and again, we only had 6 players. All 6 are contributing. Now, Duncan probably is, they said he was a project. He's getting ample playing time. Colton Dow is a dog on special teams. And that was shown today, even with that attitude. And then we know what we're getting with Spears, Peter, and Will. So you're hoping that this offseason he can go into that with what he has. So
the little Lou's over there having a fit.
Yeah, the
But,
little Lou's.
and you like, even though we knew that Wiley was not an inline blocker coming out of college, but you've seen how he's progressed in his blocking. It's much better than what he came into the league with, man. So yeah, I'm excited about the offseason. Can't wait to see what they're gonna have. Because now, like you said, J. Lou, he's been around for a while. He's got his team built as far as scouting and analytics. And so now they've had a whole year together and they know what to expect now. So now they go out and they cash in and get the players that they want to have. I hope they don't blow it by giving practice squad players massive contracts.
Well, I'm be honest. The one thing the reason I'm not worried about that, it ain't got nothing to even do with Rand. It has to do with the assistant GM who's in charge of the cap. That dude is smart. So I again, mark it down whenever you see Danico. If they sign him back, I think it's a 3-year deal, which would really be 1. But them 3 years is the funny money that you can tack on that don't count against you. I think we see a couple of veterans take deals like that while they continue to build this roster.
Yeah. Well,
so
Shahir
go ahead.
Al Shahir has already said he wants to come back.
Yeah, I hope they sign him back.
I hope they sign him back, and I hope. And in all honesty, even though I don't think it's going to happen after today, I don't think it's going to happen. But I still think it wouldn't be a bad idea to sign the King back if you can. But it's got to be reasonable money, though.
Yeah. I think you see it like you just said, Jay Lee, like they did to Nico. You give him a 2 or 3 year deal with really a 1 year deal, and make it work that way. I think they get it done. It's a no brainer to me, but hey, I'm not the GM, so they might want to go elsewhere. But like he still brings value to you. You see today, man, he still got some juice in the tank.
Oh yeah,
he still can run between the tackles, but his game is his zone blocking to the edge. That's where he makes his money, and you saw it today. And so special teams wise, so I noticed that they were letting Ty Zitner kick off today. Was anything wrong with folk, or they were just trying something different? I didn't hear anything.
I think they were just trying something different and giving him them veteran rest.
Yeah. So Zitner is not the guy. So I hope Stonehouse comes back healthy next year, because that guy, his leg is weak compared to what we've been seeing. So
yeah.
But thank y'all again, man, for joining us tonight. Another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Let's see. Did Sunshine get a shoulder injury? Kwanye, Sunshine got beat up. He's been beat up in the last few weeks. Don't know how he's still playing. He had that high ankle sprain. Then he got a shoulder injury. And
whole AFC South took a loss today, I think.
Yeah, everybody lost today.
Yep, everybody lost.
Yep. Yeah. So
and he's been concussed. So. And I know he threw 2 interceptions today, so that
Stroud being concussed.
Yep, I think we'll see Stroud next when we play him. What, Saturday?
Next Sunday. Sunday. We play them Sunday. Yeah.
So, man, thank y'all again for joining us for the episode of Halftime Adjustments. We got the Texans on the road next week. Expect a competitive game up to the end again. They're not gonna. You don't think so? You think they go beat them real good this time?
Yeah, I would say this. One of the things that helped us today more than anything else, the fact that Geno Smith, he really played a terrible game. Overall. I mean, there was a couple of passes he had where he just missed guys.
He missed guys.
And it could happen with Stroud next week. I don't know, but with the secondary we got and the way we're playing, I don't know. We might get. I hate to use the word boat race, but we might get just that defense is going to take us apart.
Well, man, you think about this, though. If Bowen is running cover 0 this week, why wouldn't he keep doing it? But I doubt it.
Next week we'll be in zone with us being 12 yards off the ball.
You got T.R. Tark, man, coming. He gonna want to show up. Show out.
Yeah.
Against us, man, up against the front.
He's already ticked off. By the way, you think Levis will play next week?
I hope not. I know that didn't answer your question, but I hope not. I hope
not.
man.
If Levis plays again, I'd rather see him week 18 against Jacksonville just to get him another divisional game and probably end the season going forward. But I'm like, Ed, I don't really want to see him there. He had a high ankle sprain, and
He did.
behind this offensive line, at least he'll throw the ball, but he don't need to just take them hits.
No,
I agree.
I'd like to see Malik. I'm jumping on the let Malik at least play. I mean, we know what we've seen, but you got a veteran in there today who did what everybody would be screaming that Malik did, taking 3 sacks on a 2-minute drill at the end of the game.
Yeah. For a veteran, and you only got 54 seconds to go down the field, and to get at least in field goal range, and on the first play you take a sack.
Man.
I'm like, come on, dude. You can't do that. Get rid of the ball. Roll out, do something. It's just really when you stop and think about it. Today just showed really that, like I said, Rams got the scout league, try to find another decent backup, and then they're still going to draft a backup. They're going to go find a backup too. That's just something they got to do. Because I don't see them bringing Malik back next year. So.
Now, Deion said he wanted to play so D-Hop and get 1,000 yards. Yeah, because he ain't gonna get it with Tannehill because he ain't gonna throw the ball to him.
No.
Or he'll force it into double coverage. So
it's amazing how that works, man. It's amazing.
Man. I'm just still. Go ahead.
He does. I mean, the fact that D-Hop has, with Levis has been getting all of his yardage. And Tannehill came in today, and how many catches he had? 1?
He only had 20 yards. I don't think he had over 30 yards a day.
Yeah, and now he was only targeted how many times? Like 2 or 3?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
4 times.
This was one of the more animated games from D-Hop.
Yes. He was really upset. Yes.
Yeah.
I could see the frustration, especially after Tannehill took that last sack. He took his helmet off and just started walking off the field instead.
I mean, because it didn't make any sense.
Yeah. But, man, we appreciate y'all joining us tonight, man, on Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to all y'all out there, man. Hope you have a good
Merry
holiday.
Christmas.
Happy New Year and all those things, man. So, again, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Head down there, G with J. Lou.
Sure.
Come back to y'all next week, man, to talk about the Titans on the road at the Houston Texans. AFC South battle. See what happens, man. Competitive tank is on. Buy in. Because it's on. Look forward to the offseason.
Just play some decent football. That's all I care. Just play some decent football. Just play decent.
Yeah. At least for a half.
At least for a half. I mean, because today I'd be the first one to say today shocked me. Because I was seriously expecting Seattle to boat races.
Me too.
And they actually played well with all the no names. They played well against them. So, if you can be competitive like that next week, I can deal with it.
Hey, kudos. That's what I think we had one of the Barber brothers, I think, on the call today, if I'm not mistaken. But that's what he said on the TV copy. Him and the other ones, they were talking. They was like, kudos to Vrabel because he's if there's one thing you can expect about the Titans, they're gonna play you tough, and he's playing them tough with a bunch of guys they just picked up off the street. So Deion
says battle, you mean AFC activities? We ain't battling anything, bro. You're right, man. My bad.
Hey, we semi-control who win it. Because
we can still ruin the party.
Right. I mean, it's gonna make that week 18 game against the Jags be that more interesting for them. Because I think the Colts and Houston played each other the last week. So we will be the determining factor on who might can win this division.
That's funny. And it's funny, it'll come down to the last play again. Watch. I know they beat us good. They beat us by 3 scores in Jacksonville. So maybe this time we can keep it closer than But anyway, man, thank y'all for joining us, man. Check us out next week. We'll be back, man. Look out for that information about the time of the show. Halftime Adjustments. Eddie Arnell, G Wit, J Lou. We out here, man. Peace.